Immigration Lawyer. Today I am going to discuss the changes that have been brought into with the latest statement of changes to Appendix Tuberculosis. Previously it was called as Appendix T, the new name. So it will be replacing A39B. This is the legal side of things. A39, B39, C39. Okay. So Appendix T will be gone and Appendix Tuberculosis will come into play. The main three changes that I am discussing here that have been made as per this appendix is, as per the current rules. So I will also take an example with the dates and explain it. So if the individual has not been in an appendix country, so I would put it all the countries that are listed in Appendix T, for example, India, Pakistan, etc., etc. So there is, if you Google for Appendix T, you will get a long list of countries that are in the list of where individuals should do a TB test in order to apply for a UK visa for more than 6 months. So any visa that you apply for more than 6 months period that will be granted, you need a TB test certificate. So the current rules say that if you have not been in that country, in a TB country, let's say India, for more than 6 months immediately before making the application, and the change is continuously present in the country for the 6 months, which includes any period of. So I will explain it with an example rather than reading the rules. So let's say the TB test certificate was issued on 1st of January 24. It will be valid for 6 months from that date, expires on this date. Date of application is 1st of July. Oh, okay. Let me rephrase my facts. So the individual has remained in a TB country from, so the date of application, the individual is filing. So let me just rephrase it. On 1st of July, you are applying for a UK visa. Right now, what is possible is, let's say you have been living in India, you were in India or any TB country, and then you travel to the US or say any non-TB country, you go to Germany and then you apply for a UK visa. So this is the rule that applies. You don't need a TB test because immediately before making the application, you were in Germany or you were in the US. So you don't need a TB test, even if just 2 days before you were in India. So that is how the rules apply. So anyone who is in a TB country, if they travel to a non-TB country, then they can file an application without giving a TB test. That is the current rules. However, this has been changed. So what is important is, in the last 6 months before the application, you should not be in the TB country. So someone, if they say 2 days before from India, they travel to USA and then make an application, in the last 6 months before the date of application, they were in a TB country, they were in India. So they will need a TB test. So this is the change. For example, if you are filing the application on 1st of July 24, the period into consideration will be the last 6 months, 1st Jan to 30th of June. It will be seen if you were present in any TB country. If you were, you will need a TB test. Very simple. That has been changed. So this is the new change. And the second change is, a person may be required to provide a new TB test certificate. So I will explain this one with an example as well. So let's say TB test certificate is dated 1st of January 2024 with expiry date of 30th of June 2024. So it's valid for 6 months, and whenever you file the application is considered by the caseworker. For whatever reasons there are delays and the application is considered more than 6 months after the expiry date, or you can take it, so on the rules it is said that more than 6 months after the expiry of the TB test, if the application is considered, then they may require, a person may be required, so the caseworker may require you to produce another TB test before they grant it. So once they are considering, they may write back saying, please provide another TB test, and before the grant is given. So when they are considering your application, so for your purposes, what is relevant is, if your application is pending for 12 months or so, then I think you may be required to provide a new TB test certificate. The rules say that if they are considering the application after the expiry date of the TB test, so the TB test is already expired, usually TB tests are valid for 6 months, it is already expired, and after 6 months the application is considered, you may be required. This may be a case where, say for example, you got a TB test issued on 1st of Jan, and then you submit the application, for example spouse visa. It takes about 6 months under standard service. You submit sometime on 20th of June. You can submit the application before the expiry, but the decision is delayed. You don't get a decision in 6 months, and just it goes over the 6 months, let's say by 5 days. So if you submit on the 20th, and then it takes 6 months and 11 days for a decision, and if they are considering it on 1st of January for whatever the reasons are, okay, then I'm just taking a hypothetical situation, you may be required to produce a new TB test. So usually that is not the case, but I'm just taking this hypothetical example, which may be possible in case of family root applications, which is the longest waiting period under standard as of today, 6 months processing time. So, and the third change, there is a discretion for the decision maker who may waive the requirement if they are satisfied. Two things should be satisfied. They may leave, they may say, okay, I'm happy to waive this requirement, I don't need a TB test certificate. The applicant is unable to obtain, two things should be satisfied. They are satisfied that yes, you are unable to obtain, let's say you are in a country, say Egypt or something, and there is no TB testing center, it's not, you are unable to obtain it, and it is reasonable to waive. Two things, not just you are unable to obtain, and they feel that it's a discretionary thing, they have to decide. So such things, usually lawyers may have to represent the case, explain it, whatever the reasons are, and ask them to exercise discretion. They feel that it is reasonable to waive it. Two things, you are unable to obtain it, and the caseworker feels that it is reasonable to waive this requirement. So three main changes. One is the date, which I explained. The second one is this one. If it's expired for more than 6 months before, then application is considered by the caseworker. The point is considered, and discretion to waive. Thank you very much.